Good morning. My name is Steve Huntsberger. I am the president of the Indian Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to welcome you to our fall forum. This forum today is sponsored by T&T Construction. We'll hear a little bit more about their business and leadership from Rebecca Thomas shortly, but before we start, let's thank them for sponsoring the event today. These forums have become a really good way for us to connect and learn from one another and learn about one another. I enjoy these opportunities to ask questions, discover what drives people, and hear what they're passionate about. It deepens our relationships with one another, and I think it helps build a stronger community. Today, we are fortunate to be joined by some exceptional leaders. I'm eager to dive into our discussion and learn more from our panelists, but first, let's set the table and the stage and discuss why we're here. We're going to be talking about strong and resilient businesses. Strong businesses are essential for the long-term stability and growth of the Indian Valley and beyond. They adapt to changing circumstances and recover quickly from setbacks. The importance of resilience has been highlighted over the past several years. And what's actually recently underscored, I think, in some of the hurricane circumstances that have happened recently. And in today's unpredictable economic climate, resilient companies can better navigate challenges like market fluctuations, natural disasters, and supply chain disruptions. Businesses don't just survive tough times, they often emerge stronger, setting standards for owners and fostering a culture of innovation and flexibility. Resilient businesses provide stable employment, they contribute to economic growth and support community well-being, making them really crucial to a thriving economy. And today we'll hear from 4 leaders who exemplify these qualities in their organizations, building successful business models while adapting to an ever-changing environment. So, would you join me in welcoming? We have Rebecca Thomas from T&T Construction. We have Suzanne Owens from Becker Community. We have Kathy Gorski on the end from Gorski Engineering, and Nanette Poserina of Health Insurance Solutions. So let's welcome them. So we have a great mix of perspectives. We have 2 founders. We have 1 nonprofit CEO and 1 second-generation leader. So this is a good representation of chamber membership, I think. This variety promises that I think we'll have an engaging and insightful conversation. So let's begin. And Rebecca, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull my questions out here.
I'm going to pull my answers out.
There we go. That's only fair. So this is the question about navigating the journey. So what unique challenge, oh no, I'm skipping. I even have my questions in front of me and I can't read them properly. So tell me about yourself. So that was a little bit easier. But tell us about yourself and tell us about your background and business.
Okay. I'm Rebecca Thomas, and I am president and CEO of T&T Construction Management Group. We are a specialty concrete contractor. To give you a little bit of an example of what we do, on Wampold Road, there's 2 buildings, the core 5 buildings. There's an example of what we do. I am, first and foremost, wife to Jason, who is the founder of T&T. We're going to be celebrating 30 years next year in 2025, and mother of 4 children under 15. So we're really busy, very busy. Our business is domiciled in Central Florida, so that's where it was founded. Originally T&T Construction of Central Florida, and we went through a rebranding to T&T Construction Management Group, I think just 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And we have an office in Orlando there. We have our corporate office there, then we have our field office there. We have 1 in Raleigh, so we serve the Mideast region, we call it. And then we have an office here in Souderton, so this is our Northeast office. About a little over, I think we just saw on Tuesday, a little over 350 employees now up and down the Eastern Seaboard. So quite busy. We're opening before the end of the year an office in Tampa and looking to expand to other offices in 2025. So we're busy, which is good. And I would say by trade, I'm a certified general contractor in 5 different states that we serve. So yeah, a little bit about us.
Wonderful. Thank you. Suzanne.
I think this is on, yes. So Suzanne Owens, I'm the president and CEO at Peter Becker Community. I've been there almost 10 years. If we talk about how many years we've been in the business, it ages us a little, but I've been in senior living for over 30 years. I started out a mentor trying to get me into being a teacher, and I actually went to college to be a teacher, and then once I walked in the door of a retirement community and felt the difference I could make in somebody's life, it has enthused me for these years that I would never think of doing something else. At Peter Becker Community, we have over 500 residents. We're able to help people just move in when they're young and active and have engaged lives interacting with other people, as well as people on the other end of a continuum that have healthcare issues and need support. We have over 300 employees, so we have a million challenges with all the healthcare things going on. So we are probably most of what I do in a week is try to think of where are we going as an organization in terms of future, what do people want now, and what will they want 15 years from now. We're constantly rethinking our services, redesigning, building. Any of you know who have gone by our property have seen a lot of construction. We're about to start a major new construction project, probably in hopefully February or March. And we have some other really big things on the table that we're working on as alternatives for the future, all geared towards this new generation of baby boomers who are about to need great retirement living where they can have fun and do things. Like we have a sports lounge, a liquor license, all kinds of things that really appeal to the next generation. So we're having fun.
Hello, I'm Nanette Poserina. I'm the president and founder of Health Insurance Solutions. A little bit about me personally. I am married. I've been married for 36 years. I have 3 sons and 5 grandchildren. And we live over in the Skipback area. I've been a part of the chamber for quite some time. I started the business about 22 years ago, Health Insurance Solutions, but I was an employee benefits person for, I'm rounding out about 44 years. So halfway through the career, I decided it's time for me to jump out. I worked for Independence Blue Cross at one point, and I learned 45 floors of corporate. I wanted to get there, but I'll take 1 or 2 floors, and we'll go with that in my lifetime. So we do employee benefits, but we have evolved. We do a lot of municipal business. We do a lot of formal RFPs and bidding. We carve out prescription drug programs. We do individual health insurance. We do Medicare benefits. And we do retiree business for large companies. So we've got we've evolved, over time just to do that unique things as they approach the market. We jumped on them. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Kathy Gorski from Gorski Engineering. We are a design build general contractor and developer. My husband is a second generation owner. His dad founded the company 70 years ago in May of this year. So we celebrated in May our 70th year in business and my husband's 20th year of sort of taking over the mantle from his dad, who retired 20 years ago. So our business has always evolved. It's very interesting. My background is I am currently the director of marketing because I had to pick a title, but I do contracts administration and just about anything that all you guys probably do in your small businesses, which is a little bit of everything. I think that's necessary for a small business, and I don't mind doing that, but right now that's my title. My undergrad degree is from Beaver College, now Arcadia University, but My diploma says Beaver College. And I have a master's in industrial psychology from Westchester. I guess that's all I need to say now, but we have in-house architecture, we have in-house estimating, we have hands-on craft professionals, so we actually do swing the hammer, and we just enjoy designing and building buildings.
Thank you. So that's a little bit about the background of our speakers. So Suzanne, I'll start with you as we'll move down the line. So this is the navigating the journey question. So what unique challenges, and I'm going to start with the easy questions first, right? What unique challenges and opportunities have you encountered as a leader, and how have these experiences shaped your career?
You know, interesting. I have planned and going to talk about some of the things that I experienced in terms of my career development, but as I'm reading this, sitting here, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how did it, waking up in 2020 in March and realizing I was sitting in a seat that was about to be hit by the biggest whirlwind that anybody could ever experience in their life, being in the target where running a nursing home and running a place where you have the most vulnerable. But that isn't the approach I was thinking of this question. I was thinking about just careers, and as we all try to approach, growth in our own careers. I worked for a long time, for over 20 years, with a family-owned company, and had a wonderful, wonderful journey. They were supportive. They taught me great business, ethics. They were just absolutely wonderful. I think in terms of career growth, there's a time in that sort of environment where there's a limit to the top. You don't ever grow to the position where you're the decision maker, where you have the opportunity. And it's very difficult to leave those nurturing environments where people are so kind and you have such relationships. And it was really difficult to step out of that and move on in my career. But I think those are all really important things. As well as one of the things that really shaped my career from a really early on, I was at a management training. I was working actually for the YMCA at the time. And they did a personality profile on all of us. And then they met with each of us individually to review it. And when the person met with me, he said, "There's a real problem." And I thought, uh-oh, what a thing to say. But what he said to me is, you're not living who you are. You are a leader. You have, you're the type, I'm reading on your profile, you're the type that stands up in a crowd, takes action, helps solve problems, and you've been here at this training for 4 days and you haven't spoken. And I said, well, that's because I'm in an environment where people have been there longer than me, and I just kind of feel that, that's not me. That conversation helped me to realize, no, this is who I am, and I need to really dig in and understand who I am and live according to what my strengths are. God gave me those strengths. How can I really understand what they are and always pick career moves that allow me to stay within that and understand what the things I'm not good at and try to avoid those. So I think, that kind of thinking has really helped me to really be happy in everything I do every day, as well as be successful.
Thank you. Nanette?
Excellent. Sorry about that. Navigating the journey. I think for me, one of the things I didn't mention, when I graduated high school, I really wanted to work. And I wanted to save the money. I wanted to have nice cars. I wanted to buy a house. And I had those thoughts early on. So I elected not to go to college. I don't have one credit under my belt. I have taken some cooking classes there, but at a local college, but that's about it. So for me, the navigating the journey was I liked insurance, and that was one of my first jobs. So I kept looking at that, bouncing to the next company, making more money, climbing up the ladder little by little, but I kept going to the places where I knew I needed to learn what I need to do to get out and do my own. And Independence Blue Cross was really one of those spots where I knew corporate benefits. I'm getting out to see companies. I'm telling them about their benefits, but I'm learning from all my mentors there, all the executives. Oh, I want to be that. I can be that. And I just kept with that philosophy. And as I kept learning, I just kept saying to myself, I can do this. I'm going to do this. So we run a small office. We have under 10. At one point, we had 13 people, employees, but we have 8 right now, including myself. And we handle a large block of a book of business. And I look back and say, well, that's because of the mentoring and the people who helped me along the way for the journey. So that's how I got where I am.
Suzanne, I was thinking, how could we all not think about the pandemic when navigating our journey? That certainly was the first thing that came to my mind, because and everybody in this room lived through it, and look at us, here we are, and yay us, right? You know, like we did the best we could for our employees and you know, the world, and we did it. So I'm kind of proud of all of us for doing that, but I guess I also thought about the opportunities that we're faced with that sometimes aren't maybe pleasant in our careers, and where that takes us, and how that affects our outlook. And I thought of the pivot points that we go through, and one of ours in our business was 2009, the economic downturn. It was tough for a couple years, and you know, we watched highway contractors get back to work faster than we did, and we're like, when is it our turn? When is it our turn? And we were down to about 14 employees. We didn't lay anybody off. We're proud of that. But a couple people left during that time, and we did not replace them. So we were like skeleton crew, and we were able to pivot, and we were able to find the work, enough work to keep us going. We were lean and mean, and we did it. And you know, those pivot points, when you're able to pivot and try something new, and then maybe quickly pivot again because it's not working, I think that you can learn so much about that. And this week I was watching some replay of a football game, and that Patrick Mahomes, that quarterback, they kept showing this play that he did, and he's like faking like he's gonna throw the ball, and the look on his face is like, oh, he's definitely throwing that ball. And then he ran, and I don't even know how this guy got through these giant, you know, people blocking him and stuff. And he just like danced around them, and I thought, there's a pivoter. I like that. I want to be a pivoter like that. So I certainly think in 2017, I was chair of our Associated Builders and Contractors Eastern Pennsylvania chapter, and it's not easy being a woman in the construction industry, because most of the people in the room aren't. So I had people, you know, I was reviewing a lease for our chapter, was going to open a new office in the Lehigh Valley, and I was reviewing a lease, which I've done a few times, and making suggestions on a virtual call, and I had somebody tell me that perhaps I needed a drink to calm down a little bit. But I guess I was expressing some outrage over some clause in the lease, and I just didn't even know what to say, and it's a phone call, so I'm sure my face was full of horror at what I just got smacked down a little bit and told that I might need a drink, and it led me to believe that I know that women can contribute more in the construction industry, specifically, you know, in our case, and in all industries, and I know how capable we are, and I'm so proud that we, not only is our CFO a young woman, but our architectural designer is a young woman, and we hired our first female carpenter last year. And as soon as she was done graduating from high school and her tech school, we enrolled her in an apprentice program, and she's working for us now. So these pivot points, I think, really just kind of clarify your resolve and kind of set your core inside.
I want to make a comment, because I think particularly for business owners and entrepreneurs, that ability to make a decision and move on, you used the word edit before when we were talking up here. Rebecca used the word edit. If we make those, we make a decision, we move on it, and if it's not working, you got to move again. And that's a really important point. So thank you for bringing that up, Kathy. Rebecca.
So I would say where I am today is an amalgam of all the good and bad in my life in general, just because I am a firm believer that he uses everything for our good and for his glory. But if I was to highlight one pivotal moment in my life that leads to where I'm at today in my leadership, and you highlighted it, the 08-09 recession and being in the construction industry, and at the time we were located specifically in Central Florida. So we went from being about 60 to 70 million annually to ticking down all the way to 10. So you can imagine that that's a business nightmare. And at the time, I was pregnant with our second child, right? Young, married, pregnant with our second child. And there's something they don't teach you in business school, and that's grit. We were actually the case study that you'd get in business school. I'm just joking, but we'd be like a case study.
It was for sure.
But what you don't get with that is all the other emotions and stressors and things that go around when you have businesses that go in decline and you're having to make rapid decisions. And out of that, there was a skill or a gift, if you'll say, that I did not know I had, which was to lean in and to really say, no, this isn't going to break us. This isn't going to destroy it. I'm going to lean into my husband. We're going to figure this out. And I became the motivator. Like, we're going to, motivating him. He's going out doing work. I mean, at that point, we would say he's in the pencil pushing job, but he's back down out in the field with everyone pouring concrete. And sometimes out, at that time, we were taking government work in military bases in Georgia and North Carolina. So he'd be out doing that type of work. But what it did teach me is the pivots. It taught me about looking at mitigating risks, and really trying to expand when you're thinking multi-generational in a business. But the key was grit. And that's something I think that is so important as business owners or those that are in charge of businesses. Is it's really gritty. You need to learn how to do the hard stuff and be able to move past and make those edits. Those things that seem like failures. You'll try, you fail forward, and say, hey, we're gonna learn from this. We're gonna make better decisions. We're gonna expand, and ultimately, this is where we're at today. Multi-region offices. We often say, strong regions built on strong areas, and so yeah, that was a pivotal moment. I learned grit.
So what I hear you saying is that being an owner and a CEO is not always easy.
No, it's not.
I think there is it not, an edit of myself here. I think there's too many people that think being a business owner is easy. You sit in the corner office and you drive a fancy car and you go on wonderful vacations and it's an easy life. And this is a good reminder it's not.
No.
It's not.
It's not easy. You deal, just in transparency, I know we've got some lawyers in the room, but you're dealing with employee issues, you're dealing with potential lawsuits, you're dealing with growth, you're dealing with your banking financials, you're dealing with trying to expand, developing partnerships, and I have 4 kids. And so, and a husband, and so it's tough, but I think, as you were saying, you do those personality assessments or behavior assessments. I didn't know this until a couple of years ago, but I end up always, and we joke about it, like the high driver and the captain and the PI profile, all these different things. But it's not easy. But I love it, but it's not easy.
But it's rewarding.
It is.
Thank you. Nanette, you're up next.
Oh, of course.
So Peter Drucker famously said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." It highlights the power of company culture over even the best laid strategies. How have you seen this play out in your business, and what steps do you take to ensure your culture supports your strategic goals?
Thank you for that question.
Thank you for answering it first.
Okay. So, for me, when I started the business, I said, there's some things I'm not doing, and I will pass that down to everyone. When it's time for review time, it'll be very relaxing. I will not have you fill out a form and tell me how you rate yourself and so forth. I really looked at how I want for my employees and for everyone to feel coming into the office all the time. So it's the shared values. I think teamwork, very important. I am the one who is in first, and I'm the last one to leave most days, unless I'm going somewhere else. But I'm always starting now it's Teams and Zoom meetings, pointing someone out who did something 2 days ago or last week. It's really the values of doing and being the leader in inspiring everyone. Now, you have people that come in, new people, and we've had a lot of turnover in early years, but I finally found the niche. I can tell during the interview whether someone will make it or they won't in our culture. We're family driven. If you are sick and you're out of sick days, just get better and come back. And I think those values that I am portraying to the employees and really promoting for them really makes our office and our culture, it just works. Plus, everyone looks to me for innovative and new ideas, and the way I present them, I'm looking for buy-in. I am and I'm not, but, looking for the buy-in, from everyone, because we all have to contribute to the team. So there's no I in team. It's all about all of us. So that's what I do.
Thank you. I read this question so many times, and I was really struggling with this one. But if I can talk about the construction industry again for a moment, we always try to have a culture of safety, and safety has to lead everything that we do. So that was my original, when I heard culture, safety culture on our job sites. It has to be number one, because if our employees aren't able to go home safely, they can't come back to work the next day safely. And so that was my initial reaction, that we've been trying and investing in safety programming, safety equipment, safer technologies and tools. So that's a number one thing. But another thing I was thinking about is we've always, the customer is always right and always serve the customer. Well, our take on that is, let's put the project first. So whatever building project we're working on, we need to put that first before the personalities involved. What is our next move? What is going to be good for the project? And I'm saying this because I've heard a lot of grumbling a little bit, and it's making me pause and think in the office when we're referring to our customers in maybe not the best way. Some complaints, little sniping and snipping, and I just always want to take it away from the personality and put it on the project. I just think, and if that's what we do, then we can create our culture of saying, look at this project we're working on. This is the best thing. yeah, there are personalities, and woof, yep, they are. But look at this. Look what we're building. Look what we're creating. And when we can hold that up, I think I have some work to do right now, and we need to hold that up as our culture of look what we're making. So.
I actually got excited about this question because I'm pretty passionate about our culture at TNT, but we're in that process, I call it the messy middle, of you're going from an owner-operator and you're starting to empower your other key leaders to own their lane, if you will, in their roles, parsing out an entrepreneur, saying, okay, we need marketing, we need business development, we need strong HR, we need all those aspects that really come as an owner-operator, and looking for multi-generational. Well, with that, we have our strategies, we have our go-forward plans every year, but again, it's so true. If you don't have the right culture, it's not going to go anywhere. So we put a heavy focus on our people, that they understand the vision, they understand where we're going as an organization, and looking to empower them. And I have this down. I should have probably provided this slide. It is on our website. But, you know, we have 3 words that we go by, and it's team, talent, and trust. And underneath that, it's defining what that means and collectively coming together. You know, we want to empower them, and we want them to be able to make decisions and take ownership of their work. And so then we reverse engineer, if you will, what that means for them to be able to do that. And some of the key things that we put into play was, and I have a copy of it, is we dropped this in the chat. We operate a lot off of Teams because we're multi-regional. And we'll drop in the chat, this was an agreement by all of our management team coming together with these, what we're gonna abide by in our meeting settings, which is be all in, monitor your airtime, say the thing, assume good intent, actively listen, clear as kind, unclear as unkind, suspend judgment, and be more curious. And they collectively came together and say, hey, we're gonna agree upon, this is what we're going to put out in front every time we meet. We also have them come together to say what would be our communication framework and how we're going to communicate to each other. And an example would be we're going to debate the problem, not the person. And trying to foster growth in every key area of the organization, especially in management. And we also did bring in an outside organization to come in and work with our key leaders through assessments and through coaching and areas, because we really do want to see them lead well. And that's a part of our go forward, is we want leaders leading well. So we made an intentional line item in our budget to say, hey, what is this going to look like to help foster the culture that's going to allow us to continue multi-generational way past Jason and myself. And we've had some success. And it's a great afterwards, whoever's staying will get to even ask Jason some questions about it, but it's been a great experience to see leaders that you didn't think would possibly take that ownership of leadership, they're rising, and then we're collectively moving together. So, thank you, great question.
I think we all thought this was a little bit of a difficult question. I thought, again, in a little bit different perspective. At Peter Becker Community, our mission is to enhance the lives of seniors, and so we have 300 employees or more that all interact with seniors every single day. And the culture is critical that they do that with compassion and, you know, real inspiration for people. I just left employee orientation right before I came here, and I talk about the Church of the Brethren that started our organization and the mission that they created to really serve, because that was, you know, their whole context. How can we serve others? And so over the years, we have really developed that. It's very, very strong. And I said earlier, I worked for another organization for 20 years. I don't think there's any, it's very palatable, the difference between this culture that is a real faith-based culture that people, every single person that works there knows that it's critical for them to be this caring, loving person that's there to embrace others. So I think that what I see is the challenge of what I have to pay attention to, and every manager has to pay attention to every day, is you get somebody that's not doing that. And sometimes in business, it's easy to not address things quickly. I can think of a time that we had in one of our restaurants, we had a maitre d', I guess it would be called, somebody that was seating people and making reservations and taking care of things, and she was actually mean. And I talked to the dining manager about that, and it just went on too long, and we really have the risk any time that something is allowed to continue like that. You have the risk of losing your great people, losing that culture you've worked so hard to create. And just by what made me even think of that example is one of our residents was in a strategic planning meeting yesterday and talking about how delightful the dining room is and how fabulous the new person who runs it and how, they're so dedicated to every single thing they do that it's, and it just kind of, you want to kick yourself and say, I should have stood up. I should not allowed my manager, or 2 levels below me, but you always have to just take that step and say, I'm not going to allow something to continue that, because we see it. We all see some of the things that aren't really reaching that level of expertise that we want, and we have to have the courage to say, yeah, I'm gonna stick to this. I'm gonna stick to this culture that's really critical.
Kathy, you can start us off on this next question. As successful owners, you all serve as role models for the next generation. How do you actively engage with and inspire the next generation of leaders to pursue ambitions and create an impact going forward?
Well, I would like to say, first of all, that I live on the energy of our young folks in our company. It's so nice to be uplifted just in sheer energy. I'm inspired by them every day. I hope that we have created a company where we encourage people to advance their careers through courses, joining organizations. We really value that. We reward that. We pay for that. We want people to, be able to add to their resume. We hope they stay with us, but if they don't, they are going out in the world and doing well in their career, and that can't hurt. That's karma going out, and that's okay. That feels good for our company too. The young folks sometimes need a little coaxing as far as making a mistake. Maybe I better not do that, but it's really testing, and in science we test things, we test theories, and how important is it to be able to test something and possibly fail or get a surprising result, and then you know where your next pivot is, your next move is. So I hope that we have created a safe environment for our employees to try things out, to maybe go out on a limb where they don't feel comfortable, but that's the only way they're going to grow into a position and take leadership. And that's what we've tried to set up in our company.
Actually, when I was reading this question, I started to think, what's really transpired over this last year and an opportunity to pour out. And it seems I'm getting more and more of an opportunity to talk to other women who are taking on a multi-generational family, thrusted into it in a sense that they weren't necessarily planning for, or more women joining the workforce that are trying to have that balance between being a wife and a mother, and now whether it's a high seat in management or coming along their spouse in a family business. And so when I think the next generation of leaders might not necessarily be on the young side, some of them are, but I'm getting more and more of an opportunity to pour into them by just giving my experiences and sharing. Like, this is the edits that I had to make. These are the commitments that my husband and I made when we said, hey, we're going to work together. And being able to pour into them, I think there is something that is so beautiful for individuals to take time. We're all busy. We're all up here. We're very busy. I'm sure everyone in this room is very busy. But to stop for a second and be able to pour out into someone else and invest in their problems is incredibly rewarding, because you go through things, right, that's in scripture, right, our testimony, right, we want to share our testimony, but that equally is in business. It's an opportunity to have coffee with someone, be able to listen to their problems and pour into them and help them, encourage them, motivate them. That, especially for women, that's a sensitive one for me. I can relate with being in construction, we're minorities. And but be able to pour into them, that they're made for more.
I think we've heard a couple people say up here that some of the best employees you can have are people that you train yourselves. You know, she has a apprentice program. We try to do that in a number of ways. It's a very difficult job market right now and everything, but really trying to inspire people to be in our field, working with high school, trying to get them to, you know, we'll teach any career growth opportunity we can in dining, in caring for residents, in marketing. Anybody at the school would be willing to have come and get credits from working half days with us and get enrolled in those kinds of things. We have management development programs for people that are in the supervisor level, but we have scholarships and things available to try to entice individuals to become nurses, and you know, we'll help pay for them to go back to school to become nurses, because we know that if we're able to grow our own leaders, our own strong team, that we'll just have much better, much more engaged, much more committed people if we're able to commit to them and really invest in them. So we try to do that every opportunity we get, and it really is a difficult market right now in every aspect.
So I think for my agency, to be a role model, everyone is younger. They're all younger than I am. I try to give to them leadership roles and really try to empower them to just do their best. And I think it's very difficult. My office, we do not hire a lot of people. We have sufficient folks. As we continue to grow, we can either add those duties on to the existing people, or we have to go out and hire. We do have 2 interns, and I've been fortunate and blessed. People that I knew, we bring them in the summer and give them jobs, and I put them around so that they can actually do everything that we all do, hoping that maybe when they go to graduate and I talk to them, I might be able to slot them right in to a corporate position, but they have to like it. They have to know what's going on. But everyone basically in our agency has had careers. They know they're established. They're managers already. So they have their blocks of business that they're handling and so forth. But the internships have seemed to work for us. I do have someone that I got right at the end of college, and she's now been with us 3 years, and she loves it and wants to continue. So I'm always pushing her, you could keep moving up. I need you to ask the questions and, help with that. But the next generation is tough, I think, once you get just graduating high school or graduating college, bringing them in and trying to give them what they're looking for is very interesting.
All right, Rebecca, we're back to you.
Okay.
So finding a work-life balance can be challenging. How do you manage to juggle the demands of running a business while also taking care of your personal well-being and other commitments?
Great question. I will say right off the bat, when I took on the role of president and CEO, I'd been in the company in various different roles, but took on the role of president and CEO. It's as if all my insecurities got a bullhorn. And, oh, I'm not doing enough at the office. Oh, I'm not doing enough for the kids. Oh, I missed that. I didn't show up for that. And trying to find that balance. And it became more about my attitude. I mean, the reality is this is my life. These are all the different things that I have my hands in, and it's my attitude, that I will be able to do it with a positive attitude, embrace it, But there are some tactical things I put in place, and if you haven't read James Clear, his Atomic Habits, highly recommend it. But there's some non-negotiables I have. I function off my calendar. It's the get up between 4 and 5. I have my time with the Lord every morning. It's like non-negotiable for me. We have our routine and our schedule. I will say I have a phenomenal husband who helps and supports in being able to cart our kids around, and he's always on breakfast duty, which is a huge help. The kids love it. And but also too, 7 to 8 hours of sleep is a must. I know sometimes it's hard and sometimes there's 10 depending upon a function. But also too, it's everything is on my schedule. So even date night with my husband every Friday, it's on my schedule, you know, and I time block, and that helps to manage, because you can get very scatterbrained. You know, where am I? What hat am I putting on? Where am I supposed to be today? Now, one area I need to improve on is my social life. That's one that kind of takes a back seat, but I'm cognizant of it and working on it. But I would say scheduling has been, my attitude and scheduling has really helped me strike that elusive work-life balance.
Thank you.
I believe very, very strongly that if we don't take care of ourselves, that we're of no value to anyone. That if we allow ourselves to be drained and work too much and go in, you know, all anxious, that people will not want us to be there. I can remember one time I took on this task, trying to be a team player, and I'm not good at details, and I was trying to fix this real detailed issue, and my employees all said to me, "We would really appreciate it if you would not do that." And so you have to give yourself that credit, and I'm a very strong believer in Steve Covey's information, that you have to plan on your personal life. You have to put all those important things in the buckets and say, you know, I am not going to cancel something I'm doing with my family. That has as much importance on my calendar as any other business meeting. And I'm going to recognize when I am not going to help anybody by being there, when I'm going to help everyone by leaving. I was doing a big, huge construction project one time, and you know, we were down to the wire, and we were trying to do everything, and I was staying hours and hours late, and I walked in one day, and somebody started to approach me to talk to me, and I knew I might just bark back. I had nothing left, and I just turned around and said, I'm going to have to get back to you, and left, and took a day off. And I think since that was years ago, since that, I'm much more cognizant of, I care about everybody enough to know I'm going to only work what I can, and I'm going to spend lots of time on my personal life, lots of time focused on Penn State and other good things.
So for me, business and personal life, it is one life for me. But I am very much like Rebecca, and I have everything on a calendar. Calendar is it. You look at it Sunday night, you know your path, you know where you're going. There may be hurdles, but that's where it is. You have dental appointments, doctor appointments, they're a must. And I can say early on when you're trying to get your business off the ground, that you know, maybe some of those things got put behind, but starting a family, raising the family, doing all that, and you know, praying in the morning, starting my day, looking for, have me do the right thing. That's what I'm looking for. I'm out there to help people do what I need to do, and it's just really being very, very organized and trying to keep on that path.
So I'll share what my husband and I, we work together. I don't know if I mentioned that, but so we do work together, although some people say, oh, how can you work together all day? And I thought, do they think our desks are actually next to each other like all day? No, often we don't see each other all day because he's, you know, out on the road, or I'm out on the road, or whatever. So, but we do hold each other accountable for our personal time, and we try to make the policy of when we are home, we are not working. Now, that doesn't always work, obviously. We have 40 employees, and things happen at night, too. But what we say to each other is, are you talking about work? Are you talking about work? And that makes us pause and stop. And do we need to continue the conversation because something important is happening? Or is it work and it can wait until tomorrow morning? So that was all I thought.
Suzanne, I think you're up next. I have 2 questions here, and we have time for one of them. And I'm trying to think which one I want to ask. I think I'll do this one. I think we'll do the adapting it to a changing landscape. No, we're going to do building networks. We're going to do building networks and collaboration. So, because I think this is important. This is why we're all here. This is part of being a chamber of commerce. So networking is a crucial aspect to business growth. Can you share some insights into how you've built strong professional networks and collaborations that have contributed to your success and the success of your business?
I was all ready to answer the other one. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I think it's really critical. I have lived in central Pennsylvania in Hershey for years and years, and moved here to as CEO almost 10 years ago. And that was difficult for our organization, that I did not have all the connections. I can remember at one point we wanted to have something go through the township, and none of us, I and a couple of people on my team, and at the time some of the board members we had didn't have the connections we needed to be able to have the influence we might need to be able to help get through that. And fortunately, it is my personality. I enjoy networking. I enjoy being part of things. I worked very diligently to get involved in as many organizations in Harleysville area as I could. I'm on the YMCA board. I'm on the chamber board. I've been on some network groups of retirement communities. I tried to get out and meet all of our legislative people, Senator Collette, Steve Meligari, Donna Shorn. I try to meet everybody often, try to recruit individuals from the community to serve on committees at Peter Becker, because we do need strong groups from the committee. I have an HR committee, for example, that we want to understand what's going on out in the business market in area. We want to make sure we have the best benefits for our employees, that we're very competitive, that our salaries, that everything we're doing is meeting the market. And so the only way we can do that is really have a network of people on our committee that we can all share. And I hope that people that are willing to serve on those volunteer roles for us also get the benefit for their own business, that, I'm seeing what that organization is doing with benefits. And so that's just a vital part of everything we do to, and of course, I have to mention the legislative things. We have to be connected as businesses to know what's going on in Harrisburg and how we can influence that. I'm trying with the chamber to address some of the recent legislation that's coming out that I think is difficult for businesses in terms of paid family leave, very, very generous paid family leave. But I think just being engaged and networking and being part of the community is really important in terms, even as a business. I want every organization in our area to know that Peter Becker community wants businesses to come in and use our public space, like every nonprofit, other businesses, because we want to just be an integral part in every single way of the community.
I think that for me in networking, for years, I was so busy with the business, I did not have time. I was a member of a couple of chambers, but I never really connected. As time goes on and year after year, I have found now I'm really set, and I'm really devoting my time here to the chamber. Networking, very important with every industry, and we were talking about this a little bit before we got started, and there's so much value, and you may need something, and you may need a referral, or you may need to connect some people. Oh, I know someone who can, work with you and help you out on that. I get fulfillment from that in networking and understanding everyone's businesses and what you do, and this is it's like another community that you do need to take a pause and get involved, whether it's different, the building community you have and the different chambers. I am, and we are a part of 2 chambers. And we struggle a little bit back and forth, but we are certainly committed, and the fulfillment that comes from it is very good.
Yeah, it's super important networking to allow you to gain new perspectives from people across the region, across the state, the country. Part of that career development we talked about is, to encourage our folks to become involved in organizations. My husband and I were heavily involved in Associated Builders and Contractors. He eventually in 2009 is national chair of that group. So he literally can pick up the phone and call friendly competitors, or not even competitors, just people in our kind of business across the country, and bounce off ideas, and they take his call all the time. So we encourage that. Not only get involved in the organization, but get involved in the leadership of the organization, because you will learn something. You will learn, you will develop, and so we do encourage that. And then other kinds of networking, I would say that a networking breakthrough for our company was our partnership with QNB Bank, because we always used a different bank for financing of our projects, and eventually that bank just didn't get us, and didn't get our sometimes ideas of what we're going to do next, and projects we can pull together that seem like a little iffy, and QNB got us, and that was through networking that we crossed paths with QNB, and they're our biggest supporter now, and just we love working with them, and our business wouldn't be where it is without them.
Yeah, I do believe networking and collaborations are so crucial and multifaceted as well. I mean, as an owner, you're looking at getting into different peer groups, right? Because you want to continue to grow in your own role. So that's been very valuable, being in the construction industry and getting involved in different construction organizations. We are a certified women minority, so part of the WBENC, getting involved in the things that they have and connected with other businesses. And I can also be empathetic towards the banking when you've got vision and you need, and sometimes you have to make different changes in the collaboration. We actually, next week, will be meeting with our bank with a strategic roundtable, being invited into some of the planning. So collaborations are such a good thing. It helps us grow as leaders. It also helps us to be better for our team, better for our organization. And at the root of it, especially for myself, it's putting yourself out there. Really, it really is. And sometimes it's more comfortable to be in our surrounding peer groups, if you will, but it's being willing to step out and say, hey, I can learn something new, and I may have something to be able to contribute. So very valuable.
That was a quick hour. We have come to the end of our time. I do want to ask if there are any questions from the audience. I can bring the microphone a little bit. I'm not sure how far I can come with it, but does anybody have any questions? Yeah, Liz, and I'll repeat it if you can't hear.
Sure. Thank you, ladies, for being here, and I'm so impressed with all that you've been able to impart to us and what you've been able to accomplish in your journey so far. Steve, I'll take your future question. What we know is that more than 4 million Americans are going to be turning age 65 each year from now till 2027, and so we're right at the beginning of what we're calling a silver tsunami. So as we talk about the future, either within your workforce or the people that you serve or the projects that you're doing, what do you see as looking forward, how to make the most of the changing demographics that we know we're going to be facing in the future?
So for the our friends that are going to be listening to this on YouTube later, the question, and that was a long question. I probably won't get all the nuances to it, but really talking about the changing demographics. Is it particularly around the aging piece? So yeah, I'll Suzanne, that might be one for you.
Well, I had a strategic planning meeting yesterday about that exact thing. We expect the number of baby boomers to be interested in retirement living to more than triple, way over triple in the next couple of years. So we are, in fact, growing. Our biggest challenge that every one of us will face is that there's anticipated to only be two individuals age 20 for every, I think it was 4 or 5 seniors. So none of us are going to have a workforce. We have to really understand, and we're already facing that now in terms of healthcare. I'm sure you see in the news how critical it is trying to have people in our industry, but I think every industry is facing that, and we're going to have to learn how to use technology to solve some of our challenges. Some people are being creative already and using robots. That's not really very enticing for a senior who has a difficult time hearing or communicating. You have to have people that can be attentive, but we're going to have to be really, really smart of how to address that, because it's going to be really, really challenging.
Can I add something? I'd like to add to that. I can assure them. Okay. No, this time of the year for January 1st is really what people are looking to retire at the end of the year, and what will I do with my benefits? We do get a lot of calls. We're a small agency, but we end up really triaging that a little bit, and we have multiple people to answer and help to navigate their benefits. A lot of people think, maybe it'll be cheaper, but in some cases it's not. The financial aspect of turning 65, and then if you are actually retiring, I think financial planners have a good grasp on that to be able to look at those numbers. Our challenges are Medicare and all the changes that continue to happen. And on the prescription drug side of the house, I can just add for January 1, there's caps on the plan, but premiums have quadrupled, and we're getting a lot of calls. Help me, what can we do? We're only a small agency, but I think people need to go to their insurance people, whether it's an auto or homeowners agents, and they will help to help them get those answers or refer to that time period. I don't know how you stop the tsunami, but that they can. We certainly can help as many as we can if they call.
And the answer is certainly not to keep working because we want to enjoy our retirement, but there might be some that still enjoy that. Any other questions? Well, I want to thank you, ladies, for joining us today. These always exceed my expectations. I have high expectations, and I love learning about each one of you. You all have such different businesses. Your experiences have been so different. And I think there was a lot of knowledge imparted today. And I think that, one of the benefits of this is, we have this challenge from you. We're all dealing with our own stuff, right? And it's all unique, but I think there are common themes that we experience, and you have challenged us, and you have laid some groundwork, I think. So I appreciate having you here. So let's give them a round of applause. So I will say, have a good rest of the week, and I think for those of you who are joining us for lunch, we can head down to the Washington House, and for the rest of you, have a great week. We will see you soon. I will say, on November 7th, we have our annual tax update. That is an early morning event, so get that on your calendar and sign up, and we will see you soon. Thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone.